Okay, welcome to this episode of Cribs. No, not Cribs. Somebody's crib, not mine. Okay, so painted. One coat. I had to remind myself this is not a house, it's a barn. So it's just to brighten up the room. Got a little bit of paint on the floor, no big deal. So anyway, I think I'm to the point inside the barn wise, other than the shelf, I need to build some sort of table or foundation to put the rabbit cages on. So you guys have probably caught in the past a glimpse of our rabbitry setup. So basically the rabbitry is made up of 4 cages wide and 4 cages tall, and they take up about 12 foot 3 inches. So my plan is to hopefully take this twisted up 2x4 down here and force it to straighten out on the wall. I'm going to mount it to the wall, maybe 10 to 12 inches off the ground, just to keep, well, let me finish that thought first. Mount that off the ground. I've got some pressure treated 4x4s I'm going to use for legs. Basically going to form out a 2x4 frame, put in some 2x4 reinforcements, possibly put some plywood on top, and that's where the cages will sit. The reason I want them off the ground and not in our garage, I used skids, but with skids I can't clean underneath the cages. I have to remove all the cages if anything should happen. They're on trays, right? All the cages have trays. You guys have seen me clean them. But if anything happens to miss the tray, get behind or down underneath, I want to be able to access it. So I don't want to put skids this time. I want to have a platform that I can sweep under and keep it tidy. And you guys saw the video we had the other day with the flood. I want to make sure these animals are off the ground. I don't want anything on the ground, just in case that ever happens again. I need to have some clearance there so I don't have to worry about them. So that's what I'm going to be working on. Supply is getting a little lower, so I'm having to kind of piece things together. Now this is just, like I said, just a structure to hold the cages, so it's not like it's really got to be a masterpiece or anything. It's just. Okay, so basically the frame's done. Like I said before, the concept I want to have is that the bottom is open. If I need to, I can get under there with a broom. It's still going to be pretty tight, but it's not going to be where it's just skid stacked and I can't access it at all. I don't want to put plywood on it. Basically, the cages are 3 feet wide, and they have trays on them, so they have little ledge type legs on each side of each end of each cage that allows the tray to slide. So I could potentially plywood it, but the idea, if I leave it open, anything that the tray misses will fall to the floor, and I can clean it, and it doesn't just build up in the stack of cages. So every 3 feet, basically, the cages are 3 feet wide. So every 3 feet, I need to make sure I have a board across that will support the ledges of those 2 cages that are side by side. So that's what I'm working on. So I got the two ends. I have a board down. I need to put 3 more boards down, and that will give us the 1, 2, 3, 4 cage spots, and then they'll be stacked. So, but you'll see all that. All right, so I'm gonna keep going. So all I have to do is put their cages in place, but I'm going to work away on that over the next little while, because as I take the cages out of the other barn, I want to clean them up a bit and work them on this one. So.
Okay guys, so in an attempt to start emptying out the barn, we are bringing our meat rabbits into the tractor outdoors, and we're going to clean those cages, put the empty cages into the new barn. So very exciting. The rabbits will remain here until it's time to process them.
Okay, so guys, I know it's a sensitive topic for some people, but the reason we're putting these rabbits here, there's 14 of them that were in the cages in the barn, in the garage here. We don't want to move those rabbits to the new building over there, because these rabbits are going in the freezer. I apologize if that offends some people, but we, as a family, what we typically, for the most part, raise ourselves to eat is rabbits, chicken, and quail. And 14 rabbits will give us, especially these rabbits, the size they're getting to, will give us probably dressed about 50 pounds of meat. So they're going to stay here because in the next few weeks they're going to end up in our freezer and feeding our family. So no point in moving them, just to bring them back over here and or to fill the cages. So that is the honest, harsh reality of it. So
we're thankful for them, and we appreciate them. And
but in the meantime, they get to be out here, and they're gonna enjoy some grass and some fresh air.
Yeah.
That's all it takes. So there'll be 4 more of those, or 3 more of those across the bottom, 4 total, and then 3 high. Is it 3 high, 4 high? I don't even remember. But so we can contain a lot of rabbits in a small space anyway.
All right, so we started out moving just the empty cages, but we kept going from there. So we are actually on our last rabbit and our last cage to get moved to the new rabbitry. The quail, most of them will have to wait till tomorrow, but we're really happy with what we accomplished today.
So the rabbitry portion of the rabbit and quail barn is now set up. We just need to get the feed in here, water supply. I eventually plan to put an automated watering system in. I don't know anything about that. I've started buying parts. So once I get all that gathered up, I'm going to try to put that into place. But yeah, it's going to get that accomplished. So one thing we did do, I don't know if you guys noticed, but we did put a white tarp on the white wall right behind the cages, because even though the cages have splash guards on them, we want to make sure we protect the wood the best we can. So when we go to bring the quail in here, we're going to end up doing the same thing. We have another white tarp put on the wall behind the cages, just to keep the wood from getting stained or eventually rot over time if it kept getting wet. So there we have it. Nice accomplishment for the day.
We still need a name.
What's that?
We still need a name.
Yes, we still need a name. So if you guys have any idea, eventually what we would like to do is put a sign on the other side of this barn above the door. I'm not sure what type of sign. If it will be a metal sign or a wood sign, but we would like to have a name for it. It's kind of a mishmash, right? Because we have rabbits, we have quail. So if you can think of a name that would suit that sort of a building, if you can think of one, or if you can incorporate symbol your homestead into the name, we would like to hear about it, because we're kind of stumped. So anyway, I want to get showered up. So see you guys. Yeah, it's all moved in. We just got to figure out the arrangement here. It's a little difficult with the GQF gauge because you have to be able to access both sides. So it needs to be presented both ways until I eventually figure out how to automate the water. Pretty sure we should have enough room. It's just we're trying to also do our hatching out here and our brooding out here, so we want to make the most of the space. So we'll probably have to rearrange these a few times, and once we get them in place, we'll bring you guys back and show you the outcome. As you've kind of been seeing, we've been setting up the barn. We still got work to do on the outside, and we do have a shelf, kind of lofty shelf we want to put up on the inside. But I felt I could work around the quail and the rabbits to do the shelf, and the outside work I can continue on as I have been. But I want to get them moved and get the garage freed up, so any of the projects I need to work on inside the garage on a rainy day, I have the ability, well, I should say I have the ability once I get the area they were in cleaned up and everything reorganized. But anyway, so we've kind of figured out where everything's going to sit in here. I have one more tarp I want to put up behind the quail because they tend to be messy. And so I found some white tarps. This is what I put behind the rabbits as well. I'm going to put this one up behind the quail, put it in place, and then we'll start actually setting stuff where it's going to probably stay. So. All right, guys, so what you just saw me doing was hanging the sensor for the thermostat for the Inkbird system. So right now it's set that the exhaust fan will kick on at 21 degrees. It'll start sucking the air through the building to kind of keep the ammonia out and keep some cool air moving through. It's almost 20 degrees now, so it won't be long that's going to turn on. So we've pretty much finished up in here. What we went with, we've got this little table that we're just going to keep here. It's just where we're going to store our incubators, and when we need them, we'll get them out and we'll put them on the top. We've got outlets around the room. Quail will be here, and obviously rabbits over here. So we don't want to put a lot of bulky stuff in here. So our plan is to gather up from our local grocery store. They throw out these 5-gallon buckets. And we're thinking what we're going to do is use those to store the feed. That way, for example, with the quail food can go underneath the cage. You might just have to throw a little plastic over it or something like that, but I don't expect a lot to drop through because we do have the trays on the bottom. And the rabbits, we have a little space over here that's just wasted space where a 5-gallon pail nicely tucks in there. We can stack a handful of them on top of each other and a couple deep. We'll have lots of room. Over here, the plan eventually will be to, in the spring, we'll be able to put a couple of little brooders that we made. We just used large totes, and or at the back, either way. But we have space still allotted for that. So this is it. It's as done as it needs to be on the inside, and now we've put it in use. So huge mess to clean up where these guys were in the garage. A lot of work to do there, but that's gonna have to wait because I have still so much work to do on the outside of these buildings and just overall upkeep of the property that's just been falling behind. So, okay guys, there you have it. The new quail/rabbit or rabbit/quail barn, which we're looking for a name for, as we mentioned earlier. Please put it in your comments if you don't mind, if you have an idea, because we don't. All right guys, talk to you later.